It's mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up, and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys would come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, there's everyone sitting around, who here thinks Ochinko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing the 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ochinko can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the Spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
You heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her and I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for the show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you gonna bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it.
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach, I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. Today is Friday, January 12th. It is Feel Good Friday here in Cars and Culture in Perkins Row. We are excited to get this show on the road. It's loosey-goosey Friday. It's you know how Fridays work. It's a lot of bebopping around, a lot of conversation in the sports world right now. Obviously, the bombshell that happened, that was, 2 days ago? Nick Saban is no longer coaching at Alabama. The Alabama job is still open. We thought maybe they would fill that job in the next 24 or 48 hours after the news was broke. I think that Alabama's finding out right now that it is maybe not as intriguing or as appealing to the coaches as people thought that it may be. Alabama is a great job. It is a great opportunity. It is a well-oiled machine. But what made that machine so well-oiled and what made that job so enticing, what made that school so successful for so long is Nick Saban. I think Alabama has had a long history of winning. You had Bear Bryant. The coaches following Bear Bryant struggled for a minute. They struggled to replace Bear Bryant until they got Nick Saban, who has surpassed Bear Bryant as the greatest college football coach of all time. And I think that the next guy after him is going to have some challenges. I think the Alabama fan base has grown accustomed to the playoff national champion one-loss teams, 0 losses or 1-loss teams throughout the course of the year. Nick Saban coached there for 17 seasons, only had 29 losses. That's less than 2 losses a year. Then the guy following him has some really big shoes to fill. He'll have an office. Nick Saban will have an office in the Alabama athletic department. That means the shadow of Nick Saban is always over you. He is going to help with the transition, but at the end of the day, it's going to be really hard, or seemingly be really hard, for the next coach to bring in the guys to Alabama. Listen, he's still going to get recruits. It's still a great place to coach. It's still a great place to be. You have all the resources, but you don't have Nick Saban walking into these recruits' homes and saying, hey, come here because I will get you to the NFL. I've done it with 49 other guys. He is not there. So that is going to prove difficult. You've seen a lot of guys, a lot of coaches that are successful in some other big programs turn the job down, get extensions, get paid, get more money. No, hey, Dan Lanning, odds-on favorite when this happened. I'm going to stay here at Oregon. He had a big buyout. He's happy with what he's doing. Steve Sarkisian out in Texas. I'm going to stay here in Texas. His extension's probably going to get announced here at any time. You had Mike Norvell at Florida State. He just signed an extension worth more than $10 million a year. So all these coaches that were on the short list for Alabama are staying put.
They got something else in common too, though.
What's that?
They're all signed to the same agent too. So
yeah,
when you have Nick, who said 5 minutes before was on the phone with Miss Terry trying to figure out if I'm gonna retire or not.
His agent probably was the next guy he knew, and so all these guys are getting their due, right? They're staying there. These schools are doing what they need to do to keep them there, right? DeBoer from Washington canceled his radio show. Seems like he's in the conversations right now with Alabama. That would a rise for him. NAIA. There you go. NAIA.
To NIL.
At Washington in the national championship at Washington this year. Does not, is the runner-up in college football, but has been a winner everywhere he's gone. He is now seemingly the only one on the list right now that we've heard of that is being interviewed that maybe has a chance to be the next Alabama head coach. Hopefully news breaks here soon and we will be able to announce that on the show and talk about it. But the other big names have decided to stay where they were at. Lane Kiffin, staying at Ole Miss. I don't even know if he's been offered the job, but he's staying there, right? And I think there's a lot of
Twitter, still doing it.
Yeah, he loves Twitter. There's a lot of reasons why I think this has happened. I think that's a really good conversation that we're going to have on this show. It has nothing to do with Alabama not being a good job. I want to put that out there right now. But I think it has everything to do with the job being good and the opportunity being really good. But look at what's happening. I think it opens it up for a lot of other people. College football already had a lot more parity over the last couple of years than it has in a long time. You have NIL, you have transfer portal, you have all of these types of things where all these big-name schools have the opportunity to make that next jump easier than it had been maybe 5 years prior. And now that with Nick Saban not coaching, kind of levels the playing field a little bit. All of that work that they have done in these schools and rebuilding it and bringing in their culture and doing all of these, they kind of feel like they're on the cusp. Texas in the playoff, Washington in the national championship. Florida State undefeated, kind of got screwed again actually with the NCAA. But Mike Norvell's not going to have any sanctions on him, so he's staying put. Dabo's kind of, down list. He ain't getting the job. He's staying at Clemson. Sarkisian at Texas, I just mentioned. It's just Lane Kiffin has built this NIL. They have 11-2 season. They have all these recruits. They have this big transfer portal class. Like, they have a lot of things that they've built for these last 2, 3, 4 years that they don't really want to just move on from just to go to Alabama because Alabama is one of these national champions. They've won them with Saban. We're going to get into this. That is my opinion. We're going to talk about it. Jay has his opinion. You have your opinion. I think we all kind of think around the same things. But I think, it's a conversation that needs to be had. Women's basketball, LSU women's basketball wins again. I think that's 16 straight.
16 or 17.
16 or 17 straight wins.
Still number 7.
What? Still number 7. That's okay. I don't think the rankings matter. The ranking will change after the big game next week. We're 35 days away from college baseball. It's getting closer. The first pitch banquet is in a little over a week, probably 9 days away. We will be there. Hope everybody can show up. What?
Speaking of, can confirm.
Can confirm.
Can confirm. Jay Johnson will not take the Alabama football head coaching job.
He will not be there. He loves football, though.
I could see if I got a quote from him right here. That says.
You texted him.
I did. I was worried. I had to make sure our guy was staying lockstep with what we're doing. He said, quote, I guess I got to say it. I'm not going to be the next coach at Alabama. Nick
Nice.
Saban - Jay Johnson. He goes, except I mean it.
That's good. Perfect. There you go.
So
he's staying
like,
put. We don't have to worry about that. That's a good news.
We'll see him at the first pitch banquet.
Yep.
Confirm that as well.
Yes, we can ask the question to him when we're there. The NFL coaching carousel is well underway. Bill Belichick is no longer the head coach for the New England Patriots. What? They have mutually agreed to separate and move on.
And the funnest
there is some rumor that he could be the next head coach for the Atlanta Falcons. There's a lot of rumor to that. Who knows? He says he wants to coach. He will not be coaching for New England. He will be coaching for somewhere else. New England promoted Gerard Mayo, former linebacker for Tennessee Volunteers, also for the New England Patriots. He's been on the coaching staff for New England since he's been a coach in the NFL. Written in his contract that he is going to be the succession plan to Bill Belichick. He gets promoted to the head coaching job. Congratulations to him. Like I said, a lot of conversation, a lot of news. We tried to, as we continue to try to get to baseball, football just keeps bringing us back. Big playoff weekend this weekend.
Might be cold.
Saturday, Sunday, maybe very cold.
Bring your overcoats.
Maybe very cold. Wouldn't be very cold in Miami at the Dolphins ended up winning on Sunday, but on Sunday night, but they did not. So now they have to go up to
Buffalo.
No.
Chiefs.
Kansas City. They got to go up to Kansas City and play in negative 5-degree weather. Seems fun. Not baseball weather. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care how long you've played football. I don't care how many rings, Hall of Fame.
How many sleeves you
I
did
don't
wear.
care. Negative 5 degree is not football weather. Not football. It's just nobody. It's not anything weather. I'm going to stay home with the heater and the fire weather.
Hot cocoa.
And
I'm going to watch you do
that
I don't want to do weather.
No, listen, not football weather. But it's going to be, look, I'll watch
It is great watching football weather, I will say.
Because you ain't going outside.
Exactly.
You're not going anywhere.
I just want to say thank you for your service to the NFL for going out there, putting your body on the lines, and then now let's play in negative 30-degree weather.
Listen to me. Playing baseball in 30-degree weather, and that is miserable. Playing football and doing anything in negative 5-degree weather is miserable. Miserable.
Playing baseball is bad enough because you're kind of just standing still and you're just letting the wind smack you. But imagine getting tackled on frozen, hard,
Tundra.
tundra
Turf.
grass.
No, thank you.
Over.
No, thank
and
you.
over and over again.
No,
Good luck.
Good luck.
I'm going to enjoy it from TV.
And so I'm saying this is going to be, I don't know if we've ever seen a game like this.
Oh, no, this is going to be the coldest game in history.
It's projected to be the fourth coldest game in
I thought it was
NFL
the coldest
history.
game.
Fourth coldest game in NFL history.
What's the coldest, do you know?
I don't know.
Yeah, it
This
should be
is
the
projected to
Tundra.
be the fourth coldest.
Huh?
The Tundra, the part star.
Yeah, but what was the
snowball.
what was the temp? What was
I
the
don't
temp
remember
of
what
that
Matter.
game?
That's just the coldest game in football history.
I know.
There's nothing you can do about it.
I would like to know the temp though. That's just what I don't know the temperature of that game is. LSU football they're getting closer to finalizing their staff. Obviously, defensive line coach Bo Davis, he is now at LSU. You got your defensive coordinator. May be getting closer to the offensive coordinator decision.
What makes you think that?
Well, believe it or not, I have sources and I see things and I'm around town. I'm listening. The bird ear
Bird's
to the
chirp.
ear to
I
the
like
ground.
food.
I like food. Like I'm around. I'm out and about and
A socialite.
Luckily, people have enjoyed our show, and so I'll sometimes get phone calls that are unexpected. This was one of those, and this is not there's no, hey, this is happening or not happening. This was a conversation. Hey, do you know who this person is? And I was like, are you talking about
This person?
said person? Yes, I am. Why are they here? I don't know. And then I start thinking, and because I'm not completely dumb. I'm not the smartest person ever by any means.
You can't connect dots.
But hey, okay, this makes a lot of sense. So, a name that maybe hasn't been talked about a lot, and I'm not saying he is going to get the OC job per se, but he may have a role in some form or fashion on the offensive staff or on the coaching staff, and that is one Dana Holgorsen.
Unless he just likes taking trips to
Unless
Baton
he just
Rouge
likes taking
in
trips to Baton Rouge.
January.
He's no longer the coach at Houston. He has a buyout. It's pretty
Passing through.
being very well compensated for his buyout.
That's when you take some time to yourself. See the
Yeah,
sights.
taking
Go
a
to
year
Baton
off,
Rouge.
doing his
the
things.
food's great.
Listen, yeah,
No other reason to be here.
Breaking.
offensive mind.
Great offensive
Hey,
mind. Red Bull
breaking.
advocate.
Breaking. Washington to Alabama.
Wow, Kyle DeBoer, Alabama. He is.
Get me out of commercial.
If you talk to, I'd imagine if you're going to talk to, this is a news that I was going to drop on for LSU, but this is going to supersede that. We'll get back to what I was going to say. Nice little cliffhanger.
Yeah, it's a little tease.
Nice little cliffhanger. If you ask Alabama fans, I'd imagine, or Alabama front office, I'm going to call them front office because we're no longer college. We're professional sports. The decision makers of Alabama. If you ask all of these guys, they will tell you probably that Kyle DeBoer was their number one choice. Kalen DeBoer, I'm sorry.
You're gonna have to learn this one.
Kalen DeBoer.
I didn't know his name until this week because
I knew DeBoer. I didn't know it was Kalen. Kalen DeBoer. They will tell you, I'd imagine that he was their number one choice. This is who they wanted all along. Hey, all the other stuff was just rumors and smoke screens, or this is what was going. This is what their agents wanted, so they didn't get paid. This is who we wanted. Well, I don't believe that. I think he was probably 4th, 5th on the list. I think other guys have decided to turn that job down. But Kalen DeBoer, what a climb for him. NAIA, very successful in that division, in that league. Moving on up to where was he before?
I'll give you his rundown.
Yes, please.
97, Sioux Falls.
Oh, you don't have to go all the way to 97.
98, 99, he was a Washington high school. He was a high school coach.
Yep, good job.
As an assistant. And then he goes back to Sioux Falls as the OC until from 2000 to 2009. Southern Illinois, Eastern Michigan, Fresno State as an offensive coordinator. Those are all offensive coordinator stops. Indiana OC, Fresno head coach, and now Washington head coach to Alabama head coach.
There you go. So his
road less traveled.
His rise is
methodical,
but once he got to Division I and showed his capabilities as an offensive coordinator and offensive mind, he's kind of skyrocketed. And once he got his first head coaching job, it went from head coach to Division I to head coach to big time Division I to I'm in the national championships to now I'm at the Mecca of college football. Congratulations to Kalen DeBoer, next head coach at Alabama. Boy, he is. To my point earlier, right? I want to get your thoughts on this, right? To my point that I was making earlier about these. Look at your friend back. She's about to be shitting all over you.
Sorry.
Yep.
We'll live.
Back to my conversation that we had earlier was you talk about Sarkisian being a potential candidate. You talk about you even add Dabo in that being a potential candidate. You can add Mike Norvell being a potential candidate. Lane Kiffin being a potential candidate, and Dan Lanning. All of those were being talked about maybe getting the job at Alabama. You look at what they've done. Florida State historically has recruited really well. Norvell has kind of built that up over the last course of 4 years. Sarkisian, same thing. Texas speaks for itself. Can recruit, can build, was in the playoffs. Lane Kiffin has a little bit of baggage to him, but has built Ole Miss into and what Ole Miss has never been before consistently, has built that for 4 or 5 years.
And it felt like a no-win situation for Lane to go back to Alabama with the way that it ended. And
no doubt.
Like he would have been, if there had been any coach that stepped in, as much as a pressure cooker as it already is, if Lane goes there and doesn't succeed, it would be, it's not worth it.
Right. So you have those guys. Then you got Dan Lanning, who's done what he's done at Oregon. Big buyout there. Has been super successful, can be super successful, has Nike in his back pocket, bunch of NIL, bunch of opportunity to recruit. My point is all these guys have built up those schools that have the ability to win any year at any time as much as they want because of the resources. Kalen DeBoer at Washington, I don't feel like they have that opportunity every year, right? I feel like it's going to have one-off years. I don't think you're as consistently successful as all those other universities. Makes sense. Hey, I'm going to make that jump to Alabama and go there. The other guys said no. They don't want to do it because they believe what they've built and what they've done and the opportunity to not have Saban in college football. They believe they can go and win every year now. Kalen DeBoer maybe not, doesn't feel that way. He's now at Alabama, feels like, okay, I'm going to go and take this. I can do this. I'm the offensive mind. I feel like I'm good enough to do it. But at Washington, I didn't feel like I had that opportunity. Now I do. Makes sense for him to go. Congratulations. How do we feel about it?
The supposed short list of guys, I think they only school. Now we're not talking about the actual head coaches, but the only school in that you haven't looked at as like a flagship, like a perennial
Football.
school would be Ole Miss. But the only guy there is the guy that we talked about. If he comes right back here, it's almost, I say here, if he comes right back to Alabama, it's almost, if it doesn't work out, and work out is a very tall task at what's going to be asked right here.
Right.
It's a different workout than
I won't
anywhere
say
else.
it's a career death for him, but you don't look at him like as a guy, right? So I think in that one, that was going to be real tough sell to get him there. But to me, the rest of them, not only what they've built over the last couple of years, but it's already literally flagship places in what I believe to now be what's the rush to go and jump into the SEC at this point when there's 12 teams that can get in? Why do I need to go through that gauntlet all year? Why do I need to do that and put myself in that situation when all I really need to do is get in? If you get in, I got a chance to dance, right? I believe that that's the shift that college football is, especially after the narrative that played out this year where there was no SEC teams in the championship. So for the rest of those guys, to me, there is no rush to be that guy right now. Now you look at somebody like Kalen DeBoer and you think, all right, you get to this school, and I think personally, like at that point, this next guy, which now we know who the next guy is, I'm sorry, I don't know what you could possibly do to keep you there for 15 years. It is going to be very, very, very interesting to see how this thing plays out because I believe, hey, he goes there and say he wins 3. There's going to be, say he's there for 10 years, he wins 3. There's going, yeah. There's going to, no, listen to me.
Yeah.
There's still going to be those 7 years unless he's literally runner-up where that fan base is going to be going nuts and calling for his head because he's not still winning them because that's what they, quote-unquote, got used to seeing.
I
right?
mean, you're giving him a lot of credit saying national championship. I say if he goes over there and goes 11-2, you know what I mean? Like you're saying national champion. I'm saying
I think this is what I think it is. If anybody comes in, anybody in any situation in any school, if they came in and gave you 2 national championships in 10 years, you would be like, God, how long can we keep him here? I think if he's there and wins 2 national championships in 10 years, there's a good possibility, unless that second one's at year 10, he may be gone. That's what I think. That's what I think that place is, and that's what I think that they're chasing there.
And look, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think if he wins 2 national championships, that's unbelievable. Like, I don't even know.
No. I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying that that's what the fan base is saying.
I know that. But the likelihood of winning national, like it's hard to win a national championship. No doubt. I know you're saying that. I'm just
100%.
That's. They are going to have to reset their sights on what the expectations should be.
But they won't.
I know that.
No place ever does. No one ever does.
I agree. But, I mean, you have a guy, you're coming off a guy who's one of the most national championships in the history. Like, you can't expect, I know you're not saying that. I'm just saying, like, a normal person would say, okay, that's never going to happen again.
Ain't too many normal guns.
If Kyle DeBoer goes to Kalen DeBoer,
Just call him Kyle, man.
goes to Alabama and wins 3 national championships, that is a roaring success for Alabama, right? Like that is you're following up a guy who just is the best coach in the history, and you're going to go and you're going to win us multiple national championships too. That's unbelievable.
Here's
like,
the thing.
In the normal
Here's the thing
scope
too. Like I need you to understand what this thing needs to look like, right? Like so, what they've been used to seeing over the last 15 years is what they've seen. What we all know what they've seen, right? So, not only is that roaring success, but let's just say you're not one of those Final 4 teams in these. Say you go there and you win 3 in 12 years, right? And these other 8, 9 years that you're there, let's say you're not one of those Final 4-ish teams and you're out at the Elite 8 round or whatever that is 5 or 6 of those times. You really think that fan base is going to be like, yeah, he's the one. Keep going forward. Well, at some point, that noise is going to get really, really loud there because of what they've seen for so many years there right now.
I agree, and especially if somebody else is doing it at a consistent basis and winning kind of with Saban. And I don't think anybody's going to. I know you have Kirby, but like I don't think anybody's going to do that. But the delusion of what they can expect.
That's what it is, yeah. And the crazy part is too, I don't even know the numbers off the top of my head, but we're talking about 6 natties there. How many other times did he lose in the championship? How many other times did he lose in the semis?
Well, 2
right?
for sure to Clemson, right?
Two to Clemson. What?
One to Georgia.
One to Georgia. One in the semis to Ohio State, right? So my point is
I mean, he was in the playoffs. What, 10 out of 12 or 8 out of the 10 years they had it?
You've seen them as a Final Four team so many times, on top of being a champion. If, as a fan base, if you don't get that, that's when you believe like, oh, because you know what's going to be 5 years from now, it's going to be like, yeah, I know Nick was the guy, but Nick's had a revolving door at all these other spots. We've got other guys to come in. Why can't this guy do it? That's going to be the conversation.
No doubt.
Alabama's
100%.
record is 9-5 in the playoff. He's been there 14 times. He's won.
No, he hadn't been there
14
He
times.
played 14 games.
Played 14
games.
14 games, because you get, so 14 games, 9-5. And then the other stat I heard was, aside
He only
from
missed the playoffs twice since the playoffs became a thing.
Yes, and on top of that, since the 2007 season, his first year at Alabama, he rattled off 16 straight 10-win seasons. Like, that's the kind of...
Since 07.
Yes.
2008 on, has never had less than 10 wins.
Since year one there on. Yeah.
And that's the thing and that's why I think the DeBoer hire is interesting in regard to this conversation of where you set your expectations. Because if it would have been somebody else, like you swing and miss at Dan Lanning, I think the expectation for Alabama fans stays exactly where it is. Like CFP playoff, 10 games, SEC champs, the needle doesn't move. Whenever you start going more and more down the list, like that's where I thought that there was a chance Alabama would have kind of preempted the expectations and gone with a different hire, like not a big name. But I guess if you can go get a DeBoer and you think that's your guy,
because you can't bring in a not a big
I know,
name
but
after
he's walking into a, like Jared laid out, a situation where it almost feels like a no-win, regardless of what you do. If you win 3 national championships, that's still
which
not
is
be enough.
Unbelievable,
right?
That's Hall of Fame shit.
For anybody.
But this is literally, I mean, for LSU fans, like y'all lived through it more than I did. But like whenever Skip Bertman left LSU baseball, nobody really wanted to. Skip handpicked Smoke. Like it wasn't like people were lining up to take the LSU baseball job.
Even more so than that, like. I guess that's a great comparison because
it's the closest one you got, really, right now.
What Bertman did to college baseball is what Saban did to college football. Like, college football has always been bigger, but like Saban's won 7.
He was bigger than the sport.
Right. He won 6 at Bama, right? Bertman won 5 as a head coach at LSU. I think he won 2 as an assistant at Miami, right? And so Skip handpicks Smoke, right? Doesn't work out. Then he picks Maneri and he hires Maneri. Maneri wins a national championship his 3rd year. Goes to the finals again in 17, goes to the playoffs a lot, national scene a lot, only wins 1. In that event that I went to earlier in the week, if you go and you listen to the conversation, Coach Maneri said his goal was to win 3 at LSU. He wanted to win 3 here. He won 1, and he almost feels like he's in the College Baseball Hall of Fame. He almost feels like that was a failure for him. He should have won more. Right?
National Coach of the Year multiple times.
Right. And, like, he was not a failure. He was a Hall of Famer. He was one of the best coaches to come through college baseball. But he only got to win that 1. It's hard to win a national championship. Jay won 1, right? You'd hope that he wins multiple, but it's very hard. So to the point, right, to the comparison is, like, the expectations of what should happen and what the fans think should happen.
Feel versus real.
Don't really mesh because you've gotten so accustomed to success and
a level of success that's unmatched.
Right.
And that's where I think
I don't think it'll ever happen again.
DeBoer is in the kind of steps into a pressure cooker situation because of his recent success, and now people I didn't know who he was before this year.
Kalen
DeBoer steps in, and then he obviously takes Washington to a college football final. They lose, but like I don't think
they were great last year. He did 2 years in a row over there.
Right, but I don't think he would have been a name on anybody's list. But now after the run that he's had, Alabama would probably expect like the wheels not to fall off. Like he needs to.
Well, they're not going to fall off.
No, but I think they don't expect any sort of fall off. But they think that Bama's bigger than anything. There's a reason.
That's the thing.
Here's the thing,
and I think Saban is bigger than Bama.
Yeah, I get the feeling that inside the building, the guys making the decision at Alabama have a very, very, very good idea of what they're expecting and what they think they're going to get. I think the fan base side of it is a little bit different, and I think if it plays out this way, at some point they end up giving into the pressure that they keep getting from that. But there's just no way on earth. I don't care if his office was next door to Saban and Saban literally wrote up everything. There's no way you can expect what Saban did to continue on right now. That can't be the expectation going into this thing.
it's going to be their expectation, I'd imagine. And with Nick Saban continuing to keep an office there, always being around the program.
Big shadow.
Yes, exactly. And
Well,
he's trying to help, I would imagine.
I think that office is more of the transition side. Like, hey, I'm going to try to keep as many guys here as you can, recruit-wise, and players we actually have here for you, right? I think, and we talked about that, what's Nick going to do after? I think Nick is going to, one, he made college football what it is.
You think he's going to chase what pushed him out?
I think he's going to save college football.
Think he's going to chase what pushed him out, basically?
I think Nick's going to be the commissioner of college football. I think that's what he's going to do.
That's what I said on, what was it, Wednesday? We didn't have a show. But whatever.
Yeah, we did have a show on Wednesday.
Yeah, we did. Whenever this happened, I was like, I think there's an avenue where Nick Saban, who showed up to work regardless after he had retired, he shows up again at 8 a.m., does his whole thing, has a guy that carries his briefcase.
Was on
for
the
him.
SEC conference call,
Yeah.
coach's conference call.
Like 2 hours before he announced
Yelling
he
at
was going
people.
to retire. Yeah, it's like,
Well, according to the reports, he didn't know until 5 minutes before. That was the reports.
yeah. So for him to just be around and still want to be in college football, I would imagine that you're looking around and he had a litany of things to say about what's wrong with college football. He doesn't like that there's no, like, why don't we have headsets? What are we doing with the NIL? All of these things that have been he gave a State of the Union on what he thinks college football is with me out of it. And I think that there's a role for him if he wants to take it, because you see the NCAA trying to hop in with punishing people on NIL stuff.
Well, listen, like
there needs to just be a commissioner of college football, and it should be Nick Saban.
There's a lot of precedent in some of these top-tier big coaches doing something above their role, right? Like Skip was an AD here, right? You have other ones that have done stuff, that have done things in the NCAA or done stuff in professional football, go to the GM or be the president of an organization. I think that's what Nick wants to do, because I think, and he's not the –
Go to the NFL?
No, I think he's going to be the commissioner of college football, but he's not the old school, look at me, yell at the clouds guy. He doesn't have that vibe at all. He understands what football is going to. He understands how to adapt. He's shown you that he's been able to do that. I mean, Nick Saban was winning national championships 20 years ago. 21 years ago was his first national championship at LSU. College football from then till now, whole different animal. And he's evolved every step of the way.
I think what Nick understands is football from the X's and O's standpoint. I think he understands people, and I think he understands business.
No doubt.
And I think he understands that the way college football is being run right now is not like any other successful business.
Right.
And there needs to be some parameters and some guardrails set up, and I think that's something he'll look to tackle in his future.
I hope, if you're a college football fan, you got to hope that's the case. Because right now it's the wild, wild west. You don't know what's going to happen. There's these random rules and random punishments that are happening from the NCAA, like at Florida State, it's happening right now. That makes no sense. It's like, why are you doing this? And then you're punishing them, and it's not really a punishment. It's just like, we've got to do something to kind of try to save face.
We're still here.
Yeah, like kind of embarrassed. It's just, there is a huge opportunity for him to go and do it, and if anyone understands it, it's him, right? And so I think that would be the best. And look, he can do TV too. He wants to do TV. He can do both.
Yeah, he gets to he'd be like Jerry Jones, where I have a press conference every week.
It'd probably be better for college football, for him doing it, running it, setting it up, doing whatever, and also promoting it by being on TV and doing different things.
State of the Union every week on College Game Day.
That's it. I mean,
because if he
it's
goes,
crazy,
if he goes
crazy
into college
transition
football
right now
like
that's happening
that,
in football.
if he becomes like the college football commissioner or wants to, there's nobody more powerful in the sport. Probably in college athletics.
There's nobody more powerful in the sport right now anyway.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So if he wants to throw his weight around, who's going to stop me?
But he's not doing it because of ego. He's doing it because he genuinely wants to make it better.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he knows how great college football is, right? And he knows probably what it should be and what it should get to and what it should grow to. And what it is now is not.
People are laughing at it.
Yes.
It's a shit show.
It's a joke. It's a video game type of thing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, let's go and create creative players.
Turn
and
trades off.
What you're having to do to be able to get kids, you got to remember, Nick Saban's a West Virginia man, grew up in the steel mill, hard nose. None of that stuff is standing true these days now. How college athletes are run and how they're able to kind of jump ship and do what they want to do at this point. And You got to imagine there is, like, if you want to call it old school, there is the shaping of a man and the shaping of an adult that's kind of missed in the way this thing's run, and I think there is some of this needs to be fixed.
Right.
That he wants to be able to do.
Because and look, I think a good point, like, if you go look at all the videos and all, like, the tributes and all of the stuff that, like, people have come out on social media and talked about how much, Saban has done for them, whether he knows it or not, directly or indirectly, whatever it is. The biggest thing for him is, like, he's always wanted to influence young men and help them become better, right? Whether it's on the field, off the field, allow them to become professionals in the NFL and guide them and develop them into those people. The way football is right now, college football is right now, it's not set up for that.
No.
You're almost setting these kids up for failure. If you don't have the right support system around them to show them how to manage this and how to get through it, and if it's just about, hey, you got to do about the money, it's about this, about the next highest bidder, it's about that, it's like, well, that's not really how the real world works, actually. Like, yeah, you would love to get paid the most, but, like, you've got to earn that, and you've got to be able to create that leverage, and you've got to create those characteristics that people want. You're not always just going to give you anything. There's entitlement, and I would argue that the way it's set up right now, there's no parameters, that you're not setting these kids up for success in the future. You're setting them up for a unrealistic situation. In my opinion.
There's a small percentage of there's a small percentage of college athletes that go on to be professional athletes. There's an even smaller percentage of that goes on to be absolute stars and mega millionaires in those. And if you're not that, the way this thing's set up is not helping people understand how to grow into young adults. And that's the crazy part of where college athletics is right now.
It's crazy.
I mean, Pete Jenkins was on the radio whenever the Nick Saban announcement was happening, like after he was set to get interviewed by Moscona on, like, local radio, whatever, and the news breaks and he has Pete Jenkins on the phone, who probably is one of the few people who can, like, Nick Saban considers a friend, like, actual in the seven circles of hell with him. And, like, whenever he got hit with the announcement, he, like, took him a second and he, like, audibly was, like, beaten up by it, but he got to why maybe Nick Saban was getting out, and he's like, Coach, I was in somebody else's office doing he does those camps, like Pete Jenkins runs his own camps and he goes to visit schools. He was at an SEC office where a head coach had to meet with a second string defensive lineman that came in and said, I want to talk about my number. And he was like, what? He's like, NIL, like, I want to get to this, whatever. And Pete didn't say anything, but the coach was like, you're not a starter. You don't play. And then he took his name out the group chat and left the team. Like, that's what you're dealing with. Like, and he's like, I got 2 more meetings today that exact same thing's going to happen.
And that's an issue.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's no parameters and there's no rules.
And there's nothing that you have to honor as a kid.
Right.
Which is crazy.
And so I think that Nick would be a perfect person for that. I think Nick Saban, being the commissioner, the first commissioner of college football, or whatever you want to call it, right? I'm saying commissioner because that's basically what it is.
The head coach.
Whatever it is, right? Like the president, CEO, the board of directors, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Brought to you by Aflac.
That guy, whoever it is, he'd be the perfect first person for that, and I think he would do a lot of good. And I think he could continue his legacy as far as kind of creating what college football is now. I think he can help change it and help put it into a situation that is sustainable for a long time.
Yeah, at least put a model in place to where it's not as broken as it is right now, because part of why you don't see probably some of these coaches leave is because of the way that the landscape's changing and how they're able to kind of recruit to where Alabama's brand isn't what it once was, because I can get kids to Texas now because of we can use our advantages. What NIL, or however we want to spin it, we have money to blow now. Like, same thing with Oregon, where the playing field has levied in a sense of Alabama isn't just Alabama and Nick Saban's there and I can throw 6 rings on the table and this is what you get when you come here. Now it's, hey, you can pay me to go to Texas. Everybody's kind of evened out here where
there's
also 12-team playoff. I don't have to go to Alabama to find success.
There's also a roll of dice thought of, like, don't get it twisted. If you get to one of these flagship schools that's willing to do what you need to do to be competitive in today's landscape, Imagine leaving that school after you just did all the recruiting and all of that, and then you go to what is inevitably going to be an absolute pressure cooker. You go there, and then that you don't do well. Well, not only did you just lose the kids you just left, well, you're going to lose a lot from the team that you just had too. So like you may be stuck in an even worse spot than you were. So there's a lot going on in those situations.
No doubt. It's I'm happy that they were able to make that decision and do whatever they needed to do and move on, because now Alabama have to they're gonna control the news cycle for probably another day or so, but it's over. Now you move on. What's gonna happen? How are you gonna do it? How is he gonna make the adjustments to the SEC? Congratulations to Kalen DeBoer. I think the bigger conversation is what's Saban gonna do after, and I think that it makes a lot of sense for him to go be whatever that title would be in college football. But I hope before he does that, I hope he does have a few pops. Sits at his lake house in Georgia, and maybe pops open some Heineken Silvers. Maybe he's a Heineken Silver guy. Maybe I should send him some Heineken Silvers.
Non-alcoholic.
I know. Huh?
That'd be the non-alcoholic Heinekens. You got to.
He doesn't drink.
Gave it up.
They have Heineken Zero.
That's what I'm saying. You get the
You
NA.
can send some Heineken Silver. Listen, somebody next to him, maybe his neighbor or his friend, who
Miss Terry.
I happen to know maybe someone who lives next to him, and they
Tiger Woods.
No, and his lake house. I may happen to know somebody that maybe knows right next to him that are friends, and maybe I give him a case of the alcoholic because I know he drinks, and then give him a case of the Heineken Zeros for Saban. Hey, y'all sit down, y'all pop it, y'all talk, y'all reminisce, y'all do whatever. Because look, it's easy, it's light beer. It's very easy to drink. You can have a bunch. I'll send you a couple cases, 95 calories, 4% alcohol, whatever. But he deserves some little R&R. And I think he's going to take some time. And, hopefully the time that he is away makes him miss it and makes him want to do this more, because I think it would be really good. No, he's not coming back coaching. He's done coaching. But I think that next step, that would be really good for college football. So
I'm not sure he'll take too much time off. I don't think he's wired that way. No. I think whatever he's getting into it quick. That just the hours won't be as demanding.
Right.
He just left the Alabama building 30 minutes ago.
Great.
So, helps y'all. All right, DeBoer it is.
He'll be back tomorrow.
He'll be back.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, you don't have to do this anymore. What do you mean?
Give me my key back.
Hey, how are you recruiting? That was also the thing. Hopefully, I think he knows. He's going to have to let this guy kind of put his own systems in place.
It's so much like Succession.
I haven't seen the whole thing.
Well, just even if you have the idea of it, like Nick Saban's like the dad. Like, I'll give the company away. I'll give the company away. No,
but you're not doing it right. You're not doing it this way. Different. I'm doing it different. Let me do it a little different. Let me put my spin on it.
Do it my way.
Speaking of doing it my way, LSU's doing it their way. BK's doing it his way. They're trying to fill
BK
their roster
and
their coaching staff.
You roll.
And back to what I was saying before the big news broke about Dana Holgorsen. I would imagine, it seems like he may be part of this. I wouldn't be shocked. I don't want to say it seems like. I would not be shocked if you heard his name pop up and him become part of the staff in some form or fashion here at LSU. He's getting his buyout. He's getting paid. He was a former head coach at Houston. He's known for being a very, very good offensive mind. And I would not be shocked if you saw him become part of the staff in whatever capacity that is, whether it be an analyst or OC or whatever it is. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about it, because LSU still has to hire their OC officially, and they still need to hire their secondaries coach. That's really the big positions that they have to do. Listen, the players we're calling for our guy. The players are tweeting at Corey, trying to push for Corey Raymond. That doesn't always work, obviously. A lot of times it doesn't work. More times than not.
Call to action.
Yeah, but we'll see. Are you hearing anything on your side, Lloyd?
No, that was the biggest scoop I've heard in days about anything about the LSU offensive search. And like you said,
I'm not saying he's going to be the OC.
You're right. That's what I was about to say.
I think that he's just going to be there on some form or fashion. As an analyst, helping.
And I wouldn't be concerned with that. That's a good thing, right? Look what Nick Saban did with his. You can do the same thing now that he's gone. Great. Now you become almost a pick of the litter, as opposed to Alabama had established its factory of Alabama rehab programs for great coaches that just came on, all right, I can't get a coaching job this cycle. I'll come be an analyst at Alabama. And then if I get promoted to an on-the-field role or whatever, your name gets back out there and you're on staff.
And are the young and coming up-and-comers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But in Holgerson's case, he's a good football mind and a good football
He's not
coach.
super old.
No, and it's somebody that probably doesn't know what to do without football. He's one of those guys where I've done this for so long. Head coach at West Virginia, Houston, he's always done football. And if you can nab a name like that to help you kind of transition to a new offense with somebody that has a pedigree of offense, if it's an analyst role to help Joe Sloan and Hankton come up with this is how you structure. This is how I structure an offensive game plan. Take it for what it's worth, whatever.
Yeah.
But this is how I approach the week. It can't hurt.
Can't hurt. But I thought that was interesting when I heard that.
Now, if he's the OC, that's when things get really interesting. If he comes in off of being fired from the head coach at Houston and supersedes your guys of Sloan and Hankton that feel like you've kind of wanted to keep the entire time, and then you're like,
but there's got to be
his name's big enough to where it would pop. People would be like, oh.
There's got to be a conversation at that point where Sloan is maybe it's a Insminger, Joe Brady type thing. Hey, you're the OC and you're the passing game coordinator, but you're kind of the OC, and he's just going to help guide you, and he's going to actually call the plays, and you're going to kind of learn how to do it. I don't know, but I'm with you. I mean, I think that I think they know that they really need to keep Joe Sloan.
Yeah.
Because
he's recruited his
he's
way
a really
to,
good he's a really good recruiter. He brought the #1 quarterback in the country. And I know you don't do things because of one player, but I think he's done it year in and year out since he's been here and brought in these top guys that LSU's not normally getting at quarterback, and then developing them. Not just getting them, developing them. So, I think that they value him, and they think that he is very important to the staff. And I think they feel the same thing about Hankton, right? I think you're going to see Hankton's value this year, right? Listen, what did you say, Jay, going into the year about Malik? Malik's very good. I think he's a first-round talent. I got to see him show me that you are different than just a good receiver. Show me how you can be elite, right? And this year he was, right? He's going to be a top 10 pick in the draft. And, was Hankton the reason, right? Did he help him develop him? I don't know. But you're going to find out this year how good of a developer he is of talent with the guys that you have.
So, you touched on it before, but when you got Sloan and you got Hankton, and you have the exit of an O coordinator, and now you have a brand new starting quarterback coming into play, and you only have one returning receiver that has a lot of time on the field. Hard for me to believe that you're going to let quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, and receivers coach all walk.
Right. In
some shape, form, or fashion. When you're going into year 3 where winning's paramount this year.
And you just lost your entire defensive staff.
When you go 10 wins, you're not expected to do less. We can't go the entire staff on both sides of the ball for the most part out of the building and expect to get what we want when it comes to wins this year.
Continuity's got to be something.
So I would imagine that they are doing everything they can to keep those dudes into it. Like you said, hey, Dana's been seen in town for whatever that's worth, right? So if there is a way to get him on the staff, it's going to be interesting to see in what capacity that is. But I can't imagine a world where those two dudes are allowed to actually walk out of the building and go somewhere else to do something else.
Yeah, and that's what you run the risk of if you try to bring in an actual, quote-unquote, big-name offensive coordinator or hire anybody else. Is this is your offensive coordinator. You run the risk of losing those two, and it feels like the easier of the two options, whether for better or worse.
Or you run the risk of losing the actual continuity that you had.
Right.
If he comes in, maybe you don't lose those guys, but what if he wants to put in his system, and now that system doesn't really work with the guys here?
Well,
that's also what you mean.
Here's the other question, right? And I said this 2 years ago when everybody was scared that we were going to lose Matt House to a head coaching job.
Right? Got to resign him, right?
Right. They said this when Joe Brady was here, and Joe Brady ended up leaving for an OC job, right? Just because he doesn't get that job at LSU, right? Just because Joe Sloan or Cortez Hankton don't get promoted to the OC job does not mean, they are going to leave and go take any type of offensive coordinator job out there. Like, they're not leaving LSU to go take the job at Texas State, the OC job at Texas State. They're not leaving LSU to go take the OC job at Tulane or wherever. They're only going to leave LSU if they don't get the OC job here, if it makes sense for them to further their career forward, if it's a better job than what they've got now. And I don't know if there's I don't know if there's many out there that are better than what they've got.
And I was about to say, that's the other side of it, right? Don't sleep on the chess game that could possibly be played right now, in the sense of Scott and that staff may be like, hey, let's keep countering back, giving love, massaging, bringing you in, but kind of saying that maybe you're not the guy, because as we do this, there's a better opportunity that we keep you here. There's a better opportunity that these OC jobs fill up around the country, to where whatever's left, you don't want.
Right.
To
It's
leave.
like, then you build, then you have the opportunity to build your resume even more. Hey, listen, hey, Nussmeier balls out for 2 years. You're the quarterback coach under Jaden and Nuss. You called some plays in the bowl game and y'all did really well. Now all of a sudden you've had 2 or 3 quarterbacks come through and you've been really good. Okay, you don't get the OC job here. Offense is humming. Boom. Now you go somewhere else and you get that job, right? So you get to build your resume because you're this Joe Brady track. Joe Brady wasn't the OC, but was the OC. But was he really? Like, he wasn't calling all the plays. He called some plays. He goes and he builds up. He have a Heisman Trophy guy. He was the guy. Now he goes there. It was hard for him. He was in a bad situation in Carolina. Gets fired. Quarterbacks coach at Buffalo. Now he's redoing it. He kind of built his resume because of the hype behind it.
There's 2 different distinctions when it comes to jobs, and honestly, it's the same in college football as it is in professional football. Coordinators, you're paid for stats. You are paid to put up stats, to put up number 1, top 10, top 5 type of units, right? Head coaches, GMs, ADs.
You better win.
You're paid for wins.
Yeah.
So, like, that's what those guys have got to do, right? So they don't have to, for Sloan and or Hankton to be able to continue to elevate their career, their job titles, they don't have to win. They got to put up stats. Brian Kelly's the ones that has to put up wins, right? And that's kind of where these situations are, where it's like, hey, all right, if I'm going to have to stay here, I need to kind of keep putting up stats. Well, this is possibly a good spot to keep putting up stats, especially as time keeps going on and jobs are getting filled, right?
Well,
where are you going to fall besides
right.
being here?
Because then you get the title of, hey, yeah, not only did I do it for 1 or 2 or 3 guys, look, I'm recruiting these guys, I'm bringing them here, I'm getting them to school, and I'm developing them, and we are winning, and we're putting up stats. You're not necessarily calling the plays, but you're doing the stuff. You're helping that guy who's putting up the numbers. You're making him better. So when it's time for your number to get called and you get the job somewhere else, or the job opens here, you may be better equipped for it. And so I guess my point in saying all this is, even if they do hire somebody from the outside as the OC here, I don't think that it's just a slam dunk. Oh, they didn't hire those guys, they're gone. Like, I don't think that's the case, because, like, it's not like they're getting fired, right? They were the intern because
at this point, it doesn't matter if they hire someone or not. I think those guys are here.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what is actually going to – are their job titles going to change? Are they getting a pay raise, or how's it going to go? Because I just don't see a world where you let those guys walk knowing what has already walked, or what has already gotten jobs in other spots, and what's at stake for you next year at LSU.
Yep.
It's hard for me to believe you let them walk.
That's what I think LSU fans are probably wanting to defend against. That's why they'd want to see them named co-OC and passing game coordinator, which Cortez already has that title, but they want to see probably Sloan and Hankton promoted this year, so you avoid everything that happens in the scenario you lead out where they're attached to, like, oh, you're the quarterback's coach, they're quarterback's coach, and then it pops that, okay, well, I could have been the offensive coordinator here, they never offered it to me, so I'll go somewhere else, then you lose Joe Sloan. What if he's
But you're going to lose him at some point. That's the thing. You got to understand that.
And Joe Sloan probably has aspirations to be a head coach.
Right.
So if he's getting these guys, he's recruiting them, he's developing them, and the offense is humming, but if he's not the OC and the offense is still humming and you're still getting those guys, then all of a sudden you've built that reputation at LSU. Hey, offensive coordinator is very good. They're putting up numbers. They're winning. So if Joe Sloan's not that OC and he's just a quarterback's coach and you lose him, it's like, yeah, you lose him, but, like, you've already built up you've had 5 straight years where the offense has been top 5 in the country, top 10 in the country. Like, It's okay.
You got to understand too. Like, do you want to lose them today? No, I really don't think you lose them today. Meaning like this year, but this is not your daddy's LSU, right? Like, there ain't no coordinator staying in this conference on a school, on a flagship school, on a top flight program like LSU that's going to be here for 10 years. You're out of your mind if you think that that's happening at this point. It ain't going to happen. So you're going to lose them at some point. Yeah. You might as well just go ahead and prepare yourself for that.
The fact
How
that
quickly you're going to do it, that's the
fact that Alabama kept Kirby Smart for as long as he did Alabama was unbelievable.
That's because
you're not going to see that anymore.
Exactly. But that stuff just doesn't happen.
Same with Dabo and his DC. Now he's the head coach at Oklahoma. Like, you're not going to see that anymore. Like, you don't see a guy, you don't see company men.
And I think it becomes even more so now that this thing's completely open. 12 teams a year? Oh, I can go run it somewhere else. I can get in as a 12 team.
Yeah, I was just saying, I think that you avoid the step of, if you don't promote them to coordinator, of them feeling like they got spurned as like they're on the staff, and then they make what would be a different move to a school just because it's offensive coordinator, but it's not a better school than LSU. Would be like a quote-unquote lateral move, but because they get the offensive coordinator title, that's the reason they're going. If you just give it to them at LSU, you probably hold on to them for a few more years.
Right, but that's assuming that they're going to be successful in that situation. Right. Then that's
what I'm saying. I think
you run the risk of saying I'm going to do that, and then them not be good, and you lose them anyway, because they're not like they're both not going to stay.
They're gone at some point.
Like they're both not going to be co-OCs forever.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
That's
I think
the other option.
You avoid losing both if whichever one is named head coach or offensive coordinator. You avoid that scenario in which they go to a school to become an offensive coordinator. If you're the offensive coordinator at LSU, I'm not going anywhere unless it's a head coaching job. Like, you wouldn't leave schools to what other school are you going to go to?
No. I don't think you leave the job that they're going to be in with the money they're probably going to make and what they do. I don't think you leave that even if they don't get the offensive coordinator job. I don't think you leave that unless it's a big step up as an OC.
That's what I'm saying. If you want to give them the title of offensive coordinator, you don't have to worry about them leaving until it's a head coaching job.
But I get it. I just don't know.
I don't know if you hold on to both of them. I mean, I imagine Hankton wants to be, if he doesn't get named offensive coordinator, then he'll be like, I want to be my own offensive coordinator.
But you also got to make sure you're putting the right guy in place.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a lot of protecting against recruiting as well. Like, Joe Sloan and Bryce Underwood are lockstep together. So if you lose Sloan anywhere before, like, even if you lose him next year, you still don't have Underwood signed.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that it all plays into it, because he's such a good recruiter, and because Hankton's such a good recruiter. That's a viable asset to, hey, we need to keep him around.
And
that's worth.
And that's why
that worth a promotion too.
And that's why I said maybe they hire Dana or someone like that in a different capacity where they don't get the OC title.
Yeah.
Where these guys are staying where they're at. You're bringing Dana or somebody that's got. I say Dana because I saw him.
You bring in another name to sit in the room to have these conversations, to coach you through it, to kind of give you some situational football, to kind of help you form plans and put them together, and then you go run it. It's almost that coaching offensive analyst and or kind of defensive analyst.
Steve Sarkisian.
It's basically turned into football's version of being a bench coach in baseball, in Major League Baseball, where I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna give you every single suggestion I got. You run with them if you like them.
You're right.
That's kind of what it's turned into.
And that's where I think the Holgorsen thing makes the most sense. I don't know if you'd want him as offensive coordinator, but it wouldn't be a shock to the system to see someone like him that just got fired come in as an analyst. Like, Alabama's been doing it for years. You mentioned Steve Sarkisian, where it's not like Holgorsen's over here pounding the table saying, no, I have to be offensive coordinator, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
It's like, sure, I'll be around the building.
You're getting paid anyway.
Yeah.
You're getting paid $50 million as a buyout.
And I get to kind of lurk in the shadows, resurrect whatever
you got also
my
think,
name is.
We don't know because we're not in the building with this too, but you got to also think, like, will there be some spite if one of them gets promoted over the other one? So can we bring in Holgorsen as the analyst, keep running it the same way we did? That way both of them feel some entitlement to the position, but the machine's running as it is. We just need you to keep it going. But we don't want anybody kind of tearing this thing down at the same time. You got to wonder if there's some of that in there as well.
Yeah. It's I'm hoping that's
like the last little bit of what LSU football has. Like, the Alabama search obviously has kind of put this big bang in the room as opposed to focusing on what LSU football is doing. Like, they still need a tight ends coach, a secondary coach.
Yeah, but I think you hired the main ones. I think the OC's the other main one. Yeah, you want a cornerbacks coach or secondaries coach, whatever you want. Yeah, for sure. But you have your DC in place. So I think the fact that you got your DC in place and they kind of understand what the structure of the defense is going to look like, I think that they're a little bit more comfortable waiting a little longer for the.
Well, now you have a whole staff to look at.
What do you mean?
Alabama. You can start.
Oh yeah, right. There's other options.
T-Rob's over there.
People are available, and that's the other conversation. People may become available that weren't available a week ago, and so maybe there's some opportunity now to get another guy that you didn't think was available. That could be your. There you go.
Got it.
Wow, what the heck happened?
I remembered how to do it.
An hour in to the show.
You'd have been better off just leaving it off the entire time. Like they just came on out of nowhere.
I saw the buttons I need to press. Like, oh, this is how you do it. I haven't done it in a while. Can't treat
Producer just producing over there.
Yeah.
Producing, huh?
You like it?
But what I was saying is there may be a guy that's available now that you didn't think was available a week ago. I saw an interesting stat. Back to the Kalen DeBoer conversation. Do you know what is Kalen DeBoer's career overall record as a head coach?
No clue.
This is his third stop as a head coach, or what are you counting? Everything?
I don't know. You just rattled off.
I know, that's what I'm thinking. He's only been a head coach.
Overall record: 104 wins and 12 losses.
Oh wow,
that plays a little bit.
2-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year, 3-0 versus Dan Lanning, 2-0 versus Steve Sarkisian, 2-0 versus Lincoln Riley. Record versus ranked opponents, 12-2 versus top 25 opponents.
So with that being said, just a question. Was he as far down the list as we think?
Maybe not. Because here's the deal. They say, you could tell me, you could scream it. Oh, he was an NAIA coach, and he was this, and he was that. Hey, bro, you got to win with the players you got in the league that you're in.
And he won.
Got the up on
Sark. If you're a winner, you're a winner.
Got the up on Sark. Who's the other one that he is? Got the up on Lanning. They played in the same conference. Got the up on Lincoln. Was he as far down the list as we think?
12-2 versus top 25 opponents. Runner-up at the national championship for Washington's got one as a university. The University of Washington has one national championship in an entire university. Skip Bertman dropped this knowledge on us at the thing. One. LSU's got however many. Yeah, that was his point. Was LSU's got a bunch in different sports. Washington's got one.
Soccer?
I don't know what it is. But DeBoer put them in the national championship game, and Kane got that close to getting another one in not that long a time there at Washington. So, was he that far down the line? I don't know. I said it earlier in the show, I don't know. But after looking at those numbers and kind of seeing his record and what he's done, this guy's won everywhere he's been. He's been a winner, and not just one kind of, 104-12.
That's crazy.
It's pretty firm.
I mean, 12 losses and 104 wins. That's a lot. Undefeated versus two of the three guys he's undefeated on, are two of the candidates that people wanted to go.
I just can't wait for it. I just can't wait to see what if the possibility if there's a game where they're getting beat by 21 in the SEC game next year, people are going to lose their
It's going to be
mind.
inevitable that there's going to be a year where they lose 3 games.
Without a doubt.
It's just going to happen. That's just the way it works. You're not going to be able to
You don't have the human cheat code anymore.
You can't. You just even with Nick Saban, if he stayed there long enough, it was going to happen. It was just inevitable. It was going to happen.
10 was on that thing every.
10-3 though. Could have gone 10-3. But the 3 losses, it was inevitable that it was eventually going to happen at some point.
Such a strong situation to have to step in. We win 10 games here every year. No,
Every
that's
year.
the bar. That's the baseline.
In fact,
I don't think people realize
you can't
how
lose 2 games. You
can't
lose
lose 2 games.
No.
I don't think people realize how ridiculous that is. That is such an impressive feat in college football, year in and year out. Not necessarily you do it obviously over that amount of time is pretty much unheard of. But as any program, to get to 10 wins a year, there's a very good chance that those 2 losses, you were as in it as any could be. Chances are, if you're good enough to win 10 games in a season, you're probably not getting your doors blown off for 2, right? So to win 10 games a year means literally just that baseline in itself says, man, we're like a player or 2 or 3 away from a championship type of team every year. That's literally where you are.
Exactly.
What we were in 2022, when LSU beat Alabama and Tennessee beat Alabama, they lost by a combined 3 points.
Right.
And that's 2 losses.
Right.
And that's why he was kind of when they're doing the college football selection, he's trying to pull the Les Miles fast one. We only lost.
We didn't lose in regulation.
We didn't lose him by possession in 2 games.
Yep. Yeah.
Les Miles is undefeated in the regular season.
Undefeated in the regular season.
Matters.
In regular time.
Undefeated technically in first overtime and second overtime.
Yeah, it's the third overtime.
It was
It
the
gets
third one
tricky.
that got us that year.
Charles Scott.
We don't usually get to those many, so,
Yeah. Now you definitely don't get that many because you go 2-point conversions.
The interesting thing will be with the DeBoer hire, who is a member of the air raid tree, and what they do at quarterback with Jalen Milroe, or if they start looking for all the portal cats are gone. So
Well, don't they have a guy there that was a pretty highly touted recruit that didn't play this year? Like Simpson and those guys were just there because they played because they had a couple years under the belt, and the guy from that's playing lacrosse now, what's his name?
Tyler.
Just Tyler Buckner?
Yeah, Buckner.
Yeah.
He's a
really
lacrosse-
hard, Coach, it's really hard for me to believe you're taking this job and you're coming down here thinking,
No idea.
well, not just no idea, like thinking like, yeah, my first step is probably to say that I got somebody I could probably put in front of Jalen Milroe.
Yeah.
You're probably like, I got to make sure I can at least try to make it work with this guy, because if I can't, it's probably not a job I need to be taking right now.
And I think they do have either a recruit that they had signed, like a big time freshman that's coming in, or a guy who was already there that may have gotten redshirt this year.
It was Dylan Lonergan, who was Nick Saban got a little nervous about his quarterback room after the spring, and made him graduate early from high school, so he moved up a year.
5-star, right?
Skipped baseball. He's a dual sport athlete. Made him skip baseball to come and practice with the Tide.
So he redshirted him.
He redshirted him, so he is on the roster.
5-star?
He's a young cat.
He was a big time recruit. So did Washington have a guy transfer in?
I'm not sure.
Yes.
Dylan Gabriel, right?
No.
Where'd
No,
he
he
go?
went to
Oregon.
Oregon.
He went to Oregon.
Yeah,
It
he's
was
at Oregon.
Will from Mississippi State. Will Richards.
Will Rogers?
Will Rogers. The
Will
third.
Richards, huh?
Yeah, who's that?
I don't know.
Will Rayshard.
Will Rogers. Could you imagine? Will Rogers. Can you imagine?
He
I'll go from
can.
Mississippi State. I could barely play at Mississippi State this year because the new coach didn't like me. Didn't know how to really do offense. He was just a defensive
He
guy.
totally shafted him.
Then he transferred to Washington because
Air raid.
I'm
This is what
gonna
I
be the
know.
guy. This is what I was born to do. Now he leaves. You're gonna go to Bama now?
I would.
How crazy would that
Why?
be? Will Rogers ends up being the quarterback at Alabama
Yeah, it's not. Oof.
I guess he would hop back in the
because
portal.
he was kind of talented. People
'Cause
liked him.
The Washington transfer portal will open up.
Yeah, once your coach leaves, you have the
you have
opportunity
30
to go
days.
anywhere you want.
So Rogers has the opportunity to go to Alabama. Alabama.
I think he gives Jalen Milroe the first run at it.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it's not. You have
You
to.
have to.
Oh, I know.
There's no choice
but I
about
think
that.
I would not be surprised if he brings in Will Rogers.
Or Lonergan. Maybe he thinks Lonergan's better.
He probably wants to get eyes on him first.
For sure.
But
Send me the tape.
Cut that up for me.
But does
Leave
Will,
the huddle in
does
if they
Will
huddle
Rogers does Will Rogers leave?
now. I would go back in the portal regardless.
I'd stay.
Depends on who they hire.
I'd stay. Yeah, but I would because you're taking the chance. You only have 1 year left, right? So you're taking the chance of going to Bama and not playing.
Yeah.
You know you're going to start at Washington. Doesn't anybody else?
Yeah, but if he gets stuck in the same situation he was at Mississippi State where they
Yeah. If it's a defensive guy,
But what's the difference of it at Alabama?
I'd rather be
because he's chasing the system.
Yeah, but
He wants
He's
to be
chasing playing time.
Yeah.
Let's tell the truth.
Yeah.
The system was part of the playing time, but he's chasing
Will
playing time.
Rogers is trending in the United States on Twitter.
Look at me go. It's a show.
I said it.
I said it wrong.
Actually, they're making fun of him.
Oh, we could do that too.
They did the whole Will Smith in the living room,
Oh,
looking around, nobody around him.
He's staying. He needs to play. Because imagine, like you say, just like he said, if he transfers back to Alabama and he doesn't play, well, I would imagine you transfer because you wanted to play, right? So what tape are you putting together when you don't play and you go back to Alabama if you don't play?
none.
Right.
So where are you really going?
I'm with you.
It's tough, though. That's why he's in the
Nobody was hurt more by Leach than Rogers. He's on the fast path to the NFL.
It's tough.
It's tough.
Should have just buried himself there too. Just go with you. Take me with you.
But this is an interesting offseason. I mean, you have a national.
A lot of
Listen to me.
huge names
Listen to me. Listen.
hit
Listen.
the market.
Listen. The final four teams in the college football playoff this year: Michigan, Washington, Texas, Alabama. Out of those four schools, only one of them is going to return their coach, I believe. Harbaugh's going to go to the NFL, I think. DeBoer goes from Washington to Alabama.
Alabama's empty.
Saban leaves. You have Sarkisian on one. So, like, you have three guys who Alabama was a play away, right? Three teams that could have won national championships. Now they're all three. Like, it's getting moved around. It's crazy. It's a crazy year for college football. Going into the 12th team.
And you potentially left the best team out.
Yeah. Right. Who's just sitting there like, hey, by the way, all of y'all are dealing with this. We just signed another top 3 recruiting class, and our quarterback is coming back. And we feel like we got snubbed from the playoff.
Yeah.
So we're going to come in hot next year.
And they took one of the top running backs and added that to that offense.
We took – and the tight end that everybody thought was – or that is
this carbon
the
copies
best
here.
player. His twin is now going to take over.
Just put the same number on him. People wouldn't know the difference.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
Georgia shit they got. I mean, that's something that
And look,
you don't even have to manufacture.
I don't fault the decision. I understand the decision. But if you look at it, it's like, and look, I'm not one of those guys that are screaming, oh, Georgia would have beat the brakes off everybody. No, you know why? Maybe. But you can't say that because they did lose to Alabama, and Michigan was way more impressive than I ever thought they were. I knew they were good defensively, but I want to see them do it against teams that had really high-powered offenses, and they did that. I don't know if Georgia would have won, but I know Georgia was a top 4 team in the country, no doubt, right?
And then you have an undefeated team that gets snubbed.
They would have gotten their doors blown off.
Oh, no, I'm just saying if you're just looking at it in totality.
Right.
Like when you look back at it and don't have like the Travis Hunter, or what's his name? That's not his name.
Travis Hunter is a guy
Yeah.
for Colorado.
Jordan
Travis.
Jordan
Travis.
Yeah, you're there. Almost.
That narrative is like it's going to disappear 5 years from now. And it's just going to look back at the playoff and be like, Florida State was 15-0 and got left out.
Yeah, for
you know, it's not be like, oh, their quarterback was hurt. They had people opt out. It's just going to be CFP got it wrong. Mm-hmm. And I'd imagine, I don't know what's going on at Florida State. You retain Norvell.
They're fine. I mean, like if you look at that assistant coach is one that got.
I'm not worried about that. I was just more worried about what their expectations.
He's there, and you got the other guy from Oregon State, DJ.
DJU.
DJU.
Is that a school?
Uyangagale. Uyangagale.
Yeah, that's it.
That's kind of close. That's close to what I've been saying, right?
Ugalele?
No, it's Uyangagale. Something like that.
Don't flip the camera here, cuz.
He's transferred there, right? So he's a starting quarterback. So Norvell's got his guy. They had another guy from Oregon State that transferred over there. I don't know who it was. I think someone on the defensive side of the football. So now you lose your 2 top receivers and your running back, right? I think maybe your running back just opted out of the game. But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be crazy. But Norvell's there. He got paid. Paid. We haven't even touched about the NFL. I mean,
Belichick, see you later.
Belichick gone. Pete Carroll gone. Lot of.
Think the Saints are thinking right now?
God.
No, I mean, unfortunately, I don't think so.
Like, you don't think the Saints? You think the Saints are like, man, we could really hold this thing together for a couple more years and kind of put some stability in this thing. Like with the roster that you have right now, you think the Saints are like, well, I don't really want to change it up. If there's one person to come in and coach defense, it'd be cool if we could get him in the building.
And the reason that the Saints, I know it's not going to happen, but the reason why the Saints make so much sense is because of, so with the Patriots like contract that they had laid out for Gerard Mayo.
Yeah, no, he's a secession.
Right, but it wasn't supposed to kick in until after next year. That's when the plan was written for. So Bill Belichick could get to be the all-time NFL wins leader right off into the sunset. Instead, they have to accelerate the plan because Belichick's like, all right, if I only have one more year here,
right,
I'm not going to probably win 12 games, which I think he needs to do.
You want Bill to come to New Orleans?
And him come here for 2 years, get his wins record, and then the Saints actually look competent for at least 2 years with the roster. Like Jared said, they're still a little bit of a crack if you put everything in place on the coaching side. With Dennis Allen, that window is shut.
He's not. You wouldn't have to come in and
rearrange anything.
Mold a young quarterback, right?
Defense is his calling card. He probably loves the way the Saints defense is built.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I don't.
That
think,
would be a total
I think
upgrade.
I think there's a 1.66% chance that it'll happen. But is the conversation? Yeah, is the conversation happening in the building? That's
No.
what I want to know.
No. But you really would get Belichick for probably 2 years. Which
I don't know if it's 2. I think he wants to coach a little longer.
You
than
could
2.
have.
Well, just going off the wins record thing that he had set up at.
Yeah, but usually-
it was approaching the thought of
But
retirement.
I think that's because he's been there 24 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I think he
Like,
was going to probably retire a Patriot. Like, that would have made sense if it went the way he thought it was. Like, we'll probably be pretty good. I'll win.
Or maybe this was actually put together because they were like, hey, look, this is how it's going the last couple years. I'll give you 3 because 3 should get you to that spot.
Now-
And then after that, we can figure out if we'll still stay or not. Because they're used to winning, man. Like it wouldn't have taken 2 winning seasons to get there.
Because we're a sports show, I have to bring up the opposite end of it for conversation. Bill Belichick, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest coaches of all time ever in the history of football, college, NFL. Understandable. But
But
over the last few years, they have not been good. There's been a lot of noise around where the coaches have been bad around him, like nobody's really done anything. Now, the defense has always been good. But offensively, I thought it was raining.
me too.
Offensively, they have been abysmal. Now, Mac's first year was good, and then they bring in, new offensive coordinators. Bill Belichick wanted to call plays, and he let his son call plays, and then he let whoever else called plays. Not son, his
son was a defensive backs coach.
Patricia was calling plays.
Yeah, brought him back.
Who's a defensive guy. So it's like he did all these kind of things,
Quirky things.
that weren't very good, that didn't really work. So it's like, I'm not saying he's not good. I'm just saying, like, is that, with all the stuff you got going on, is that what you want? The Patriot way?
And you probably couldn't even bring in Belichick because he probably wants to be GM, so you'd have to get rid of Money Mickey.
I don't think he does. I think at this point he realizes, like, let me just go coach. Let me just go coach. I don't think he really feels like he has that runway
and
right now.
Bill's not going to want to rebuild. Money Mickey doesn't like to rebuild.
Yeah.
So he knows Money Mickey's going to go out and spend money because he can figure out the stuff. So maybe. I just don't think that conversation is being had right now in the building because Money Mickey is very loyal. And I just wish he would be not loyal to.
I think his loyalty is run out. Like, that's, like at some point you have to be like, what am I even loyal
When's our
to?
OC guy getting? When's Pete Carmichael getting fired?
You didn't see him at the restaurant?
No, I didn't see Pete.
Right past his bedtime.
I could probably go
Sleepy
to
Pete.
Metairie Country Club and see Money Mickey on the golf course and just run into him. He's been playing a lot of golf with Hurd.
Good.
He's out there. Well, not anymore. No, today he ain't playing golf for the next 2 weeks. After today,
That's the funniest
it's about to
thing.
be fucking cold.
We had Brooke Kirchhofer on Thursday, and she said that the Saints took this week off. With everything that's going on, there's nobody in the building.
Nice,
Black Monday, you take the fucking week off.
nice.
Like, oh, you don't think Vrabel, maybe you should give him a call?
Well,
Like, no, we're not.
I wouldn't mind Braves,
Hell yeah.
but that's the same. Yeah, I wouldn't mind Braves.
Well, they're not looking into it. They're not at work.
Maybe they're looking into it, just not in the building.
Zoom meetings only, baby.
Uh-huh.
2024, bro. You can work from your phone and from computers. You don't have to be in the building to work.
The 19th green at 9.
That's a possibility
FaceTime.
too.
Zoom.
So dumb. Like, that's how much Dennis Allen feels confident that he's getting his job back. He's like, we're good. I'll see y'all in a month.
Well, they didn't fire him on Black Monday, so he's like, well, I think I'm good.
You think Jameis comes back?
No. I would love for him to. I think they need him back, to be honest with you. I think you need some sort of you need him in the locker room because the locker room is kind of the reason why everything is kind of like going the other direction, but I think you need him there.
There was certainly a mutiny that was afoot because in this
I saw the article. You read the article?
Yes, that's what I'm about to quote it from Jeff Duncan. Inside the Saints' cultural issues, an increasing number of players and staff began parking in the smaller public parking lot at the team's training facility rather than the larger, gated lot reserved for them on the side of the facility. Some players even regularly parked in front of the lot's 4 handicap spots. So this place was just run amok.
You know what makes me laugh about the fact that you just read that? Is because what they're doing
Is what I would do.
is what you would say, oh, that's not that big of a deal. I would do that. What do you mean parking in the wrong spots? Not a big deal. How you do anything is how you do everything, Lloyd. But it's a big deal because of the locker room culture. You're not listening to rules. You're not doing that's a big thing. I'm surprised that you thought it was a big thing.
The culture is building the culture. Like, they're obviously going out of their way to make a statement, and nobody seems to care. Like, if you're the head coach and your football team's like, why aren't y'all, like, it doesn't even seem like it was a conversation that they had, like, hey, boys, let's get the right parking spots, all right? Timo and me. And no, Dennis Allen just go, whatever.
The culture is building the culture. That's the first time I heard that one.
The culture is building the culture.
The floor is the roof.
The floor is the roof. We make shirts. The culture is build the culture.
I mean, I guess. Makes sense. Not really.
It does.
Oh, don't
It makes sense a little
He'll
bit.
fight you on this one.
Uh-huh.
I get what you're saying, but I mean, they've got to do.
Don't think about it too hard.
They've got to do some soul searching for sure. Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe it's a company retreat.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe it's a company retreat. Maybe they're doing ayahuasca with Aaron Rodgers right now.
Or they just need to do like a sleepover.
Maybe that's ayahuasca.
Yeah.
They're going out there. They're doing the entourage. What's the tree?
Joshua tree.
It's a Joshua tree.
A little peanut butter.
Figuring out what to
sandwich.
do. Figuring out what to do.
Ari did not.
They're
handle
gonna lose
that well.
Ari, and they're gonna find him, and they're gonna figure out some things.
If that was Dennis Allen that wandered away, I'd just pack up the bus, keep him out there. I wouldn't even have taken mushrooms. I just would have given him mushrooms and left his ass.
What a situation that would be if you got lost
in the desert?
in the desert.
It's easy.
I mean, I know that. On mushrooms.
Oh, it would be fun until it wasn't.
I don't think any part of that sounds fun.
Well, once you realize you're lost, like, oh shit, I've been gone a minute. Where is everybody? Phone doesn't work. Oh, stars are beautiful. Take a little
Beautiful.
nap. Gets cold.
Beautiful. You
Dennis
see
Allen.
aliens up there
Yeah. Did you see that alien?
in Miami?
No, there's a new one of, at least it's a holographic drone that was flying through. They picked it up on thermal. It's wild. Looks like a jellyfish.
Wow, where?
I don't know. Just read it on Twitter.
So aliens are here.
Yeah.
They're here.
And they're poking around.
Now it's coming out. A lot of really nice technology, really cool technology. You can probably fake a little of those pictures and the videos and the stuff like that, but can't believe everything you see now.
Jam the comms.
I mean, you got people changing all kinds of things with AI and all that. So
Careful what you see.
Yeah.
What you report on.
yeah,
Ball Sack Sports is out there. Still
Yeah, it's-
getting people.
still getting people. Unbelievable, huh?
Or just the Schefter with you flip the letters around, the T and the F, and it's like, damn it.
Yeah, it's still getting people. It's unbelievable. What else we got today, boys? I mean, we had a lot. We went hard early. Well, I guess we could continue to talk with LSU stuff, but there's really no news to talk
No
about.
news.
No news.
I love the,
That is news.
that's a note.
We should text text Jack and make sure you say, hey,
Clip this one.
clip this one. Hey, Daniel Holgerson, question mark? Maybe?
Sauces.
Saw him with my own eyes.
Reported by me, Mikey.
I did it. I'm not saying he's going here. I'm just saying I saw him.
Big Red Bull vodka guy.
I think he
you
likes
know
to have a good time.
How you know that?
Because you can see there's videos of him on the sidelines just crushing Red Bull, even though they're not sponsored by Red Bull.
So
and
you
he
just-
just
Added the vodka to it.
well after the game, you just don't like Red Bull that much, and have never tried Red Bull vodka.
How do you know?
You never tried an RBV?
No, I'm saying you don't drink Red Bull like that and not try it with what if I put these two together?
How do you know that? Maybe he's a whiskey guy.
No, he's had at least one Red Bull vodka. Like this is where
I
it's
mean,
at.
I would imagine he's had one, and he may love it.
It's hard not to. I can't even drink Red Bull without it anymore.
I can't do too many Red Bull vodkas.
I can do 10.
That puts me in the next day feels terrible.
Is that why?
It's a lot of sugar.
I go sugar free.
Still, I mean, sugar free don't make it healthy.
I tell them I'm a diabetic, and it works every time.
What?
I tell them I'm diabetic.
Tell who?
But
The
to tell who?
bartender.
Why?
They ask you? Who cares?
Well, because they want to give you the regular. I'm like,
Yeah, but if they have sugar free, just give them sugar free.
I know they don't want to give up the sugar free.
Where?
Every bar I've ever been to, they're like, oh, it's
What
in the
bars you
bag.
go? I've never seen him hoard sugar frees.
Oh, Mikey can attest to
They
this.
usually tell me they don't have it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're lying. I've done it. I've set up enough remotes at enough bars to have seen the sugar free in the back, and then asked, and like, "Oh, we don't have it." It's like, I saw it, and I'm diabetic. Don't let my blood be on your hands.
Man, you're diabetic, so the sugar-free is going to help. That's going to be good.
It's like a Diet Coke. Large fry, Big
King-size
Mac,
fry. Yeah.
Diet Coke.
You're one of a kind, man.
So do you tell them you're sugar-free? Do you tell them you're diabetic before or after they acknowledge that they actually do or don't have?
I say, Red Bull vodka, can it be sugar-free? I have diabetes. And they're usually like, yep.
You're dark.
So they they have to make a point of it. They're like,
You're
let me
dark.
really get this kid sugar-free.
You're dark.
I'm telling you. If you have to go to if you have to use it, use it.
We don't need to talk too much about this next topic. I just want to bring it up because it popped up on my computer.
What, Caleb Williams?
Our boys in the Pels kind of doing it right now, by the way.
They always are sneaky on the back end.
Don't want to hear it. Let me see him get past
I know.
the All-Star break. And then
This
we
is
can
but
really
this
have
is longer than they
conversation.
did last year. They are getting hot longer than they did last year. So I'm just saying, like, they are.
Put a pin in it.
They're doing the whole thing where, can this team be in the NBA Finals?
Well, you
Is
start
this
looking
team, like,
at-
is this good? And then all of a sudden,
Somebody gets hurt.
it's gonna get to the peak, and you're gonna get real hyped about it, and then someone's gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen.
I feel like they've been a team that's
Prove me wrong.
always
Pels.
that's somehow found their way like in the conversation more times than not ever since we had Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, and one of them, whichever one of them got hurt
Cousins.
right before the break. That's been the trend of every time. So let's just get to then, and then we can still have that conversation for me.
When was the Pels or the Hornets? When they were the Hornets, that was probably when they were most consistently like good. Was when they had Tyson Chandler.
Was it the Baron Davis years or the Chris Paul years?
Chris Paul.
years.
2012.
I think that was probably their most consistent. Like, I mean,
Crescent City Connection.
that was Lob City before Lob City. I mean, Chris Paul get there and just throw it up, and it was just
David West, not dunking, but lethal on the elbow.
a little mid-range game.
And you had the Italian. The flags would fly. They would run down the court.
Yeah, still gotta make it down to
This team is better than that team, at least on paper.
Yeah.
You would think.
Yeah, more talent, more stars, for sure.
Did you see Caleb Williams?
No, what happened?
He said he wants it guaranteed that the Chicago Bears are trading the pick before he puts himself in the draft.
Guy's out of control. Oh man, I'm telling you right now, he is the biggest risk in the draft. Just put it like that. And I don't mean talent wise. He is the one that you could be 10 years from now being like, I can't believe I made that decision.
What is the reason? He doesn't think they're a good organization.
I wouldn't want to go play there, but yeah, it
What
says
if-
breaking. This is from Wesley Steinberg, who I assume is really. He's got a blue check mark. USC quarterback Caleb
No,
Williams
check marks don't matter anymore.
wants assurances
You get paid for this.
# Bears will be trading the first overall pick before declaring for the draft. Williams and his camp have no interest in playing in Chicago.
Does he not have any interest in the second overall pick either, or no? That's not a thing.
Who says he's gonna be the one overall pick?
I'm just
Who says-
I'm just throwing it out there.
I mean, what if? I mean, boy.
What if
What if
somebody
you are the
traded
number
up?
one pick? What if they don't
What if
want
someone
you?
traded up to that 2 spot and was able to get him if he doesn't want to be like? But what does that really mean?
And what'd you ask?
I just don't understand. Like, what if he's assuming he's the number one overall pick?
Mm-hmm.
What if you're not? You still want him to trade the pick? What if they traded? What if they traded and got to the number 2 overall pick
And you're still there.
and they draft you anyway? That's what I hope happens. I hope they trade and he is no longer the number one. They don't have the pick. Oh, I'm in the draft. I'm gonna go. All right, cool. I got the number 2 pick now, and we're gonna draft you just out of spite. They won't do that, but
Come stand in the cold. Watch Justin Fields cook. Because that's why I understand his kind of reservation of if he were to go to the Bears. He just drafted a Justin Fields who looks silly coming out of high school and college, and then just looks like a shell of himself as a Chicago Bear.
yeah, but
You turn him into a running
It's
back.
not that I don't understand his concern. It's the having the audacity to come out and say, first thing to say, hey, I need a percentage of the team. You ain't that good. You're good. You're great.
I don't think he's going to be that good in the NFL. I'll
You
stand
ain't
on
that good. Nobody's that good to ask an owner of a team to say, I'm so good that you have to give me a percentage of the team. Asinine. shut up. That's terrible, right? Then you come out
Sit down,
and you
stand
say, hold on, I'm going to come back to school. I'm making all this money, which is great. He is making a bunch of money in NIL. I'm going to go back to school. I'm not going to put myself in the draft unless I know I have guarantees that the Bears aren't there. Another NFL team who's going to pay you millions and millions of dollars. Man, get over yourself.
First off,
bro.
it just shows me the inability to understand how this thing goes. Nobody's trading the number 1 pick overall anytime.
For
this,
you.
No. Anytime this soon. You're losing so much leverage by giving it up right now.
And nobody's going to trade the pick because you asked them to trade the pick. Like, they're not going to do it and say, "Oh, I need to have guarantees."
Might be
like,
fake.
Huh?
Might be fake. Wesley Steinberg.
Just producing.
I told you, watch out. It could be fake. Take it for what it's worth. Y'all ran with it.
You spoke about it.
Blue check.
It's on your screen.
I said, take it for what it's worth. This could be fake. I don't know who he is. NFL and New York Giants insider, ASMR sports representative, 12,000 followers, but everybody underneath the tweet is saying this is fake. But I don't know. I don't know who Wesley Steinberg is.
Either way, it doesn't.
The fact that you fell for it.
Well, the fact it does because honestly, it sounds like something he would say because
Exactly.
he's already asked for a percentage of an NFL team. Like, do you know what a percentage of an NFL team gives you as far as money? Like, even if they gave him 1%, 0.5%.
Here's my thing.
Teams are worth like $5 billion.
Here's my thing. How on earth would that help the Bears even if they said, hey, we're trading this pick? Who's going to give them max value now knowing that what you going to do? You don't want a quarterback, so if you're not taking him, what are you going to do? Take what we offer you or you're stuck. That's just as ridiculous as it gets.
Crazy. On that note, let's get to Mistake of the Day. Mistake of the Day is brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place. Mistake of the Day could be you for getting us fired up on a fake story.
Know. Sorry about that, boys.
It's okay. It wasn't so outrageous that we couldn't believe it because he's already been outrageous. The whole process has been outrageous.
That's more of the. That's what makes it seem not fake. Is that even though it's not absolutely maybe not true, it doesn't mean it hadn't been said.
Pull the string on you.
All right, Mistake of the Day is brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place.
The mistake of the day, brought to you by Dozy Place, is the Saban staffer that just is trying to help a little too much with what Nick's got going on. This is on his last day. He's trying to help Nick kind of get in the car, out the car, and like you can see, he's clearly just, what are you doing? Get out my way. And then he goes, let's double down. Let's see if I can help him with this door over here and leave that one open. Gets over here, and he's like, just get the fuck out the way. What are you doing? Okay? And then watch the rest of it where he walks behind the car where there's nowhere for Nick Saban to reverse. So he's just perpetually in this guy's way. Like, all time, just doing too much and nervous around Nick Saban, it just never fails. Where you're like, oh, let me help. Oh, no, I'm in the way. Oh, no, I'm behind you. Oh, God. Man's in a pretzel. with the worst man on his worst day.
That's not his worst day. He's not getting it fired.
Oh, I don't think he wants to leave, though. Keeps coming back.
I mean, he made the decision he wants to leave. But, yeah, the guy – listen,
Get
that is
here.
a
This guy's kicking him out.
Let's walk around, open it this way, and then this guy's never opened the door for anybody in his life.
He's about to put Nick Saban in between both of them. And then
also, let's get the Mercedes doors to stay open a little bit more.
Right.
You're
not helping.
That's Mercedes' fault.
And he just got tongue fucked on the way out, and he's like, God damn it. All right, let me walk this way. Oh, nope. All right, I need to get out of here. I need to go home.
Yeah, rather than view the camera. I thought you were gonna talk about Peacock.
I thought we were gonna get to that just in general.
I know we were going to, and here's the other thing: the Peacock situation. Right, you have to watch the game exclusively, the coldest game I've ever, maybe.
You think it's real snow?
What?
Or they plan it up for the cameras? Like, oh, now you have to buy it.
Real snow?
Yeah. Do you think their Peacock is kind of fluffing it?
I don't know. I just know it's gonna be really cold. But you have to go it's exclusively on Peacock, right? I saw a tweet today. If you wanted to watch every single NFL game this year, right? And you had to buy Amazon Prime, you had to buy YouTube TV or whatever you want, plus the ticket, plus you get Peacock, you get the monthly subscriptions, plus Res or whatever, it costs you $1,000 a month. With all the subscriptions. That's crazy.
I feel like I got somebody with it too.
That's crazy.
That's
crazy. All right, curtain call is brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners.
Yeah.
Me? What we got?
I'm gonna stay on the NFL train, and I'm gonna give it to the number 27. Now, the 27 represents the number of LSU players that will be representing LSU on an NFL team in the playoffs. I'm gonna give a little love to them. My curtain call is to them. Enjoy the playoffs. Somebody go win it. Got enough of y'all out there. Somebody go win it.
Please go win it. I love that. Lloyd?
Curtain call.
Look, can you get me off the screen when you do your curtain call?
Yeah.
That's your favorite thing
We'll
to
have
do.
to look at the internet, and I can't look at both screens at once. So
Well, I mean,
somebody gets frozen on there.
You get a little time that you can.
Yeah, flick you off. I forgot what my curtain call was. I put it in here. I can't find it. Get back to me.
Alabama?
No, it wasn't Alabama.
My curtain call is to, we mentioned him earlier, Jimmy Sexton. He has a monopoly on college football, on the coaches of college football. Every coach that was being entertained at Alabama was his client, which means all of his clients either were going to get the Alabama job and get a nice pay bump, or they were going to stay at where they were, also get a nice pay bump. Kalen DeBoer, also his client, goes from Washington to Alabama with another pay bump. So shout out to Jimmy Sexton. He just keeps doing it, continues to do it, and he seems like he's going to be doing it for a really long time.
Okay, 2 curtain calls. One is just a shout out to if you've watched the Barstool Foreplay Golf, they obviously are
Great
huge
to get
Tiger
Tiger.
Woods fans, and that was their probably the sole mission of starting the podcast. Whenever you think about it, what if we ever got Tiger Woods? Or that'll never happen. So for them to get Tiger out there and to see him kind of chop it up a little bit with the boys.
You always know when somebody's at the back end of their career, when they start losing.
Nick Saban.
Nick Saban, Tom Brady, Tiger Woods,
Bill Belichick.
all of them.
Start enjoying it a little bit more than you used to. Yeah.
And then there was a tweet that I thought was actually, this should be a show. It was Bar Rescue, but Nick Saban is John Taffer, and he comes into your college football team for a week.
Wow.
He just gets to come look around and be like, shut it down.
Be great.
I want to watch that.
What are you doing wrong? How you do it? Here's the deal. This was the other conversation was.
Be like undercover boss.
Well, a friend of mine was like, look, you can go recruit. You have all this stuff. You have all the resources. How are some coaches able to do it, and other ones leave Alabama when you have everything set up for you, and how can someone not just be able to continue that? I'm like, well, there's a bunch of intangibles that happen. You have to get these guys to believe in you and buy in, all these kind of things. So, yeah, you could do is, hey, this is what you need to do and fix your structure, but the head coach has got to be able to follow through with it.
Yeah, there was reports of, I was listening to the Rece podcast, and he was talking about.
Great, by the way.
He's awesome. Early Saban, his first year at Alabama, whenever they went 7-6, 6-6 in the regular season, and they said when the older guys were leaving his first year at Alabama, the seniors that were already there were like, bro, I don't know what y'all see in Nick Saban. He does not have it at all. This was one of the weirdest seasons, and they were saying, I don't know if this is a good hire. After 1 year, the next year he said the national championship.
Reason was probably why they were 6-6.
Yeah. Losing to ULM. You're not bought into Nick Saban's culture.
Yeah, you're a loser.
All-time terrible take.
Yeah. All time.
I still do wonder what LSU fans would be like if he had never left and this day had happened.
He'd have eight national championships.
No, I'm saying the fan base would.
Be Alabama.
Yeah, we would be Alabama.
It's the same.
So I'm thankful he didn't let that happen.
Think about what it was when he was there for 5 years.
It was boiling over.
Imagine it.
16 years,
tripling that.
17 years.
Yeah.
We'd be insufferable.
Crazy. It would actually be longer than that. It'd be 20.
If he never goes to Miami either?
Yeah, it'd be 20-some years. 22 years. It'd be Bill Belichick, 24 years. 24 years. 2000. 24 years. Crazy.
7 natties?
Well, here's what he has now. I think he'd have won more.
10? There'd be no Alabama.
No Alabama.
God, he just would have walked to the SEC championship every year.
Crazy.
What a steam.
I mean, think of all the Alabama guys. Think of all the players that he brought to Alabama from Louisiana that made a big difference in his national championship.
And imagine putting all of them on one team.
Exactly.
That'd have been fun.
Yeah. All right, that's all we got for you today. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the
Mardi Gras ball.
NFL playoffs. You're going on Mardi Gras ball?
Yeah.
Which one, Alexandria?
Yeah, 12th
nice.
night.
They do that over there?
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Shut down.
Excited for you. Excited for you.
Early, huh?
I'll be at a wedding in New Orleans.
Nice.
Weird.
That'll be fun.
That never
Yeah,
happens.
weird. Only one of January. It's great.
First one of the year. Only took him 2 weeks to get there.
One of the year. January's a
settle in.
big wedding month for my family. Nobody wants to miss football season.
Yes.
So
Smart. Get them all
smart.
in.
Very good move. We appreciate our love and support. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got a lot of subscribers yesterday. It's a big subscriber day. Keep doing it. Keep it up. We appreciate you. If you can't watch us, you like listen to us, or anywhere you get your pods. What?
For today and today only, it's half off if you subscribe today.
Half off.
Free.
Half off for free.
You can't beat
Which
that.
is great. Can't beat that. We'll be back live in studio on Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. We are excited to talk about
I will be
what is
in
to
shambles.
come. Yeah, it's great. Can't wait. We'll be excited to talk about the weekend. NFL, obviously, weekend. Hopefully, there's some more coaching news in the LSU camp. LSU basketball plays on, I believe, ESPN or SEC Network this Saturday against Auburn, ranked team. LSU makes hopefully if they can win on the road, that really puts them into another level of like, hey, maybe they're making some big strides. We'll see. Stay warm. Enjoy your weekend. It's going to get really cold here soon. Next week's going to be very miserable, but we'll be here.
Practice starts.
We'll be here to warm you up.
Oh.
We'll be here to warm you up. We love you. We appreciate you. Enjoy your weekend.
Enjoy your dinner, Dana.
Dana, good seeing you. Carl.